Dr. Fellow, Mr. Martin,
Present.
Dr. Selvage,
Here.
Mr. Thompson, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, please. Now, Ms. Cooper, please tell us the agenda for a closed session.
Thank you, President Brown. First, we have on the agenda a special meeting for this evening commencing at 6 o'clock. It is a closed session for the purpose of negotiation of the lease agreement with El Monte Union High School School District, negotiator Dr. Robert Miller. The property at issue is the El Monte Unified High School District high school property that we lease for the Rosemead Satellite Campus. Also, closed session tonight, the items are, and the negotiation of lease agreement is Government Code Section 54956.8. For closed session, as part of our regular meeting, the items are collective bargaining, PCCFA, lead negotiator Mr. Bruce Barsuk, Government Code Section 54957.6, collective bargaining, PCCCFT, CSCA, and POA, Government Code Section 54957.6, negotiation with unrepresented employees, management association, and confidentials, Government Code Section 54957.9A, employee discipline, dismissal, or release, one employee, Government Code Section 54957, and one public employee appointment, Dean of Student Life, Government Code Section 54957.
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
General Counsel, we're going to start with the closed session items for the regular meeting first. Is there an issue with that, and then do Rosemead after?
No, there isn't.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone in the audience wishing to address the board on any of these items? If not, we will. Did you have something? Oh,
No, he's
okay. Okay, so then we will adjourn to closed session. We are back from closed session. And I would like Ms. Cooper to please report any actions that we took in closed session.
Yes, President Brown. In closed session, the Board of Trustees, by a vote of 5-0 with 2 absent, Dr. Fellow and Mr. Thompson, the board voted to mitigate a previously served suspension of a classified employee in the classification of carpenter to 10 working days pursuant to a negotiated settlement agreement. The employee waived his appeal rights also pursuant to the negotiated settlement agreement.
Thank you very much. Mr. Salvage, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please place your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Trustee Salvage.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I practiced, though, just to make sure.
Well, I would like to welcome all of you tonight to our trustee board meeting for March the 4th. And we want to welcome our accreditation team that is here to observe us. We're okay. All right. So do we have any introductions tonight, Dr. Miller?
Just the accreditation visiting team. Just don't need to make a public spectacle, but there's 3 folks here, and we want to say hello and thank you for, they have been with us for the last 2.5 days, and we appreciate their efforts on our behalf. Thank you.
All right. Public?
Yes, we have 2 people wishing to address the board on items not on the agenda.
Let me just read the instructions, please, so that we all know. The Brown Act prohibits the board from discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda. You will have 3 minutes to express yourself. Thank you.
First person is Mark Whitworth. I will signal you when your time is closing out, and then I will ask you to stop at 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Mark Whitworth. I'm an instructor in performing arts. But tonight I'm here as the grievance officer for the Faculty Association. As you know, we are hiring 36 new faculty, and early last week, the Faculty Association was informed that there were quite a few applicants that were having their applications rejected and getting a canned response saying that your application wasn't complete. We contacted Human Resources about this issue, talked to an administrator there, and we're told that, yes, there are glitches in the system, but mainly it's the applicant's fault. From this point, we decided to meet with Director Hampton to find out what was happening. So myself, Suzanne Anderson, and Edward Cairo, the Faculty Senate President, met with Director Hampton last Thursday, had a long discussion, found out that she agreed that there were lots of glitches, that applications were being kicked out, but again, it was mainly the applicant's fault. One of the problems with the new system that they're using is an applicant has absolutely no way of knowing their application is complete, even though the system tells them that it was 100% complete. From that point, we were told by Director Hampton that we would have a response from her by Monday. And after that, we put out an email blast to our adjunct instructors. Of the instructors that we put the email blast out to, 14 instructors had their applications rejected. Now, these are professional educators that are waiting for a long time for positions to open here at PCC. And they were all told that their applications were incomplete. From this point, Faculty Senate President Cairo asked Terry Hampton if it was maybe a good deal to stop this process, since there were glitches in the system and there were numerous problems. And she was going to talk to the administration about this issue, and they were going to come to some sort of a conclusion. Today at 4 o'clock, we got the answer to these problems, and the answer is basically we're going to go forward with the system that we have, as flawed as it is. As well, there have been issues with confidentiality.
Sorry, your time is almost up.
Oh, okay. Issues with confidentiality, with applicants' information being put public, and also currently there are violations of board policy AP 7120, and the fact that none of these committees have been vetted for diversity, and the committees are going forward. And as well, some of the applicants have been kicked out by human resources when they shouldn't have been. The applications should have gone to the hiring committee. We think that this process should be stopped for the sake of our reputation and for legal reasons.
Could you conclude, please?
Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you.
Okay, and the other person?
Dr. Mann, just a minute.
I just would like to let the public know that we did provide a very detailed 5 or so page response today to all the concerns that were brought to our attention by one of the grievance officers last Thursday. We worked through it Thursday and Friday and met Monday, and I believe I sent an email that indicated we'd get a response back to you by today, but that's what I recall, so I can check on that. So we did. We're just as concerned about these issues as the Faculty Association is. The memorandum that went forward was designed as a communication piece. Certainly, we are still very much willing to sit down and continue discussions regarding the issues that are in place, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
The other person who wishes to address the board is Mary Erin Crook.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. My name is Mary Erin Crook. I'm a resident of the district, a member of the ESL faculty, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the Faculty Association. And I am going to read a statement by the Faculty Association on the winter intersession and the shared governance process. And I thank those of you who heard this earlier today for your forbearance. At the February 26th College Council meeting, PCC Interim Superintendent President Robert Miller presented an incomplete picture of the Faculty Association's position regarding a winter intersession and the facts of a recently concluded negotiations. We're issuing this statement to reiterate our support of the shared governance process as the appropriate means to create an academic calendar. Given that the college-wide shared governance calendar committee, through a formal and democratic process, approved a 2015-2016 calendar with a winter, given that the associated students, after a student survey, voted to support a calendar with winter, given that the College Council supports a calendar with a winter, And given that the empirical data on student success, retention, and persistence support a winter calendar, the Pasadena City College Faculty Association strongly supports a calendar that includes winter intercession, and for the benefit of the students, advocates for its immediate implementation. The PCCFA has never wavered in its support of the shared governance process or a calendar with a winter intercession. In the interest of settling the contract at the recent contract negotiations, the FA agreed to set aside discussion regarding the academic calendar until the PERB appeal was settled, with the understanding that the development of the academic calendar would proceed through the shared governance process. In other words, the FA and the administration agreed that while the PERB case and the issues related to it await a legal ruling, the college would continue to adhere to the longstanding exercise of the shared governance process in the development of the 2015-2016 academic calendar. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Miller?
Yes, thank you. Everything that Ms. Crook said was accurate. I reported out at both CAPM this week and in College Council that the calendar committee had completed its work. The calendar committee had voted for the winter for next year. The College Council took an action, as I recall, voting for, and at the March 18th meeting, the board, I will make a recommendation to the board regarding my position. Since I announced it to everyone, I will announce it here as well. There are 3 reasons why I will not be recommending a winter calendar next year. One being impact on students vis-a-vis financial aid. Second being the PERB ruling and the agreement that we have with the Faculty Association. And the third being that the board is in the process of hiring a new superintendent-president, and I personally don't believe that it's appropriate to get ahead of whoever that person might be and whatever her or his recommendation might be. So that will be what I will be recommending on the 18th, and certainly the board can take that information and go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Okay, next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes for the meeting, I think it was February 18, and a revised one for February 21st. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Trustee Waugh. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Trustee Mann. All in favor? Do we have any discussion, deletion, correction? If not, advisory vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carry unanimously. Thank you. Okay, so we'll turn now to approval of consent items. We have 1 consent items that we will be voting on later, which is consent number 64B. 164B, I'm sorry. Do any trustees have any consent item they would like to pull? Trustee? Well, William Thompson, I haven't seen you for a while. Which one?
16S.
16S. Okay. Any other ones? Okay.
And we're going to pull 89P as well.
We're also going to pull 89P. So with all items pulled, can we have a vote on the ones that are not pulled? Do you agree? Do you have a motion for?
Move approval.
We have a motion by Trustee Waugh, a motion by Trustee Mann, and a second by Trustee Waugh. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Just advisory vote?
Aye.
So all in favor. Okay. Now we will discuss. What about 16S?
I simply wanted to point out that this is for a group called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship, and back many years ago, I had the honor and the pleasure of serving on the board of the InterVarsity Christian Fellowship, and so I'm strongly in favor of anything this organization does, and just wanted to make that point.
Great. So do I have a motion?
I would move approval.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Motion by Trustee Thompson and second by Trustee Waugh. Advisory vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carry unanimously. Okay. we will do 89 later, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, 89P we're pulling for tonight.
Oh, we're pulling it?
Yeah, because that was the
Okay.
original action.
Okay, so now what?
So we're on action items.
So now we're going to go to action items recommended for approval, student equity plan.
Yes, thank you, President Brown. You will recall at the last meeting, we had, if you will, a first reading on the student equity plan presented by Dr. Levo. We have that plan under your tab F tonight, and we would ask the board's approval of the student equity plan. Dr. Levo is here to respond to any questions should the board have any, would like further discussion on the topic.
Is there a motion?
I have a question.
Okay.
This is the same plan that was presented to us at the last meeting?
Yes, Dr. Mann, it is. And also for reference, I have with us our researcher. She's a doctoral student at UCLA, and her name is Patty Quinones.
All right, thank you.
And also with us is Crystal Cole-Ross, our campus researcher.
So do we have a motion?
So moved.
And do we have a second? We will have discussion.
We get
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by trustee Mann and a second by trustee Watt. Now discussion. Go ahead, trustee.
Now, this is more elaborate than what we had last time, right?
It is.
Right, okay. Oops. I had a few observations. I went through the data and the way in which the various, well, let's see, the success rate, index, proportionality, and that sort of thing. It mentions here on page 11 that for the proportionality analysis of access, the extent to which the student body is representative of the service area, it mentions that we didn't have zip codes, or we haven't figured out what zip codes constitute the district, and I'm sure that they don't coincide with the boundaries. But the redistricting plan that we got just, 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago by redistricting partners has all the demographic data for exactly our boundaries. And they did some very precise adjustments, to balance out the population and all this. And they had the information on various ethnic groups. Rather than using zip codes, which approximate, or here it said using some of the cities but leaving out others, why don't we just use their data or get them to run the data? I happen to know the guy, Paul Mitchell, who runs that. He also runs an organization called PDI, Political Data. And he's very busy right now because there are a whole bunch of elections going on. But they've got the precise definition of our boundary, so we don't have to worry about city boundaries. We don't have to worry about zip codes, census tracts, or zip +4. We don't have to worry about any of that. He's got the boundaries. And why don't we just ask him to update and give us the ethnic composition to use as the starting point for, comparing the students that we actually have.
I think that's an excellent idea, and I've worked with Paul Mitchell. He's a great guy. I enjoyed our time working with him on redistricting, and if he is willing to help, I am more than willing to work with him.
Yeah, I'm sure he would be. The other thing is about 72, 73% of the people, or the students here at PCC are from outside the district. So if we take a look at our makeup for all of our students here at PCC and compare that, all the students at PCC, 3/4 of whom almost come from outside, if we compare it to just our district, because we don't know how many people are coming from outside, we could have a real mismatch in the types of ethnic makeup that exists inside and outside. And we could test that pretty easily to see if there's much of a deviation, if we need to be worried about, having false indicators, by taking a look at the PCC students who are from in the district and their ethnic breakdown, comparing that to what we get from Paul Mitchell. So we'd have a district students compared to district population, and then take a look at all of our students and compare it to the district population. If they come out pretty close, then we don't have to worry about the fact that all these people are coming from outside, and we just assume that our district is pretty reflective of the makeup outside.
I think that's a great idea, and I think Patty would love to do that for me.
No, we're doing it for the students because, student equity is important. And I represent the most, Jeff Baum observed when you guys did the redistricting that my district's the most diverse in the whole, of all 7. The other thing is this is sort of a generic observation. I was looking at the success rate, the 80% index, and you called this the proportionality index. On a couple of these, in a couple of these tables, we have a very small group of students, and that's called unknown. And they're a very small number, and in a few cases, that very small number of students is used as sort of the scale from which everybody else is measured as some percentage. If it's just a couple of percent, in fact, one of them was even less than 1%, why don't we just exclude those?
Yes, and we agree.
I just toss this group. And by the way, does anybody have any idea who tends to identify as unknown, or maybe they just don't know?
Well, I think they probably know, but they choose not to tell us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's it. I just, I was concerned that, we don't want to get false indicators
Yes.
driving the effort that we're going to spend $500,000 a year on.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah, thank you,
Salvage.
Trustee Selvage.
Okay, Trustee Watt?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, thank you for having included additional information from the first time we saw this equity report. And once again, I think that you all did a great job on this report. I think the data was very helpful. I just wanted to reiterate the concern that I had given you before, that I think that the data does show that there are some gaps in the population that we serve and who's actually coming. And so I hope that that gives us an opportunity to kind of look at that to see where we might fill in those gaps. So.
Yes.
Great, so any other comments?
Yeah,
You have
one other thing,
more?
Paul Mitchell said that you can get the age cohort stuff too that you mentioned in here that we talked about last time.
Oh, great.
The age cohort, because
Okay.
that could be different than the whole population.
Excellent. Thank
So
you.
I think you brought this for action. Is
I
that
did.
correct?
I
So
did, yes.
are we ready to vote on this?
Oh, we need a motion.
We do have,
approve.
we have a motion. I thought we had a motion already.
Already had a
from-
motion and a second.
We had a motion from Dr. Mann and a second from Trustee Waugh. Advisory vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Please raise your hand so I could count you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All in favor. We all passed unanimously. Oh, that was good. All right. Let's move. Thank you very much. Okay, what's the next action item? Approval of additions and deletions to non-credit curriculum.
That's correct. Under tab G in your binder is the item approval of additions and deletions to non-credit curriculum. It is standard business of the board, and we ask your action to approve.
Okay. Everyone had a chance to look at those, and if I have a motion?
So move.
Okay, Trustee Wall have a
Second.
motion. We have a second by Trustee Mann. Advisory vote?
Aye.
All in favor to approve these additions and deletions?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Do we have any abstentions? Okay, motion carried unanimously, and we'll move on to item H, resolution number 531, in support of College and Career Access Pathway Act. Assembly, oh, this was great, Assembly Bill 288. We had the opportunity to go down there and hear our Assemblyman discuss and articulate again the benefits of this resolution. Do we have any discussion? Go ahead.
So Many of you know that I'm the president of LACSA, the LA County Schools Trustees Association, where we bring the K-12 and community college boards together. And so last week, we did have this discussion. We had Assemblymember Holden come in and speak about this bill and the benefits, and some of the language that is now coming from when he first forwarded this bill. But we also had a chance to hear two early college access models, one Pasadena Unified PCC as well as the Compton El Camino. I have to tell you that I got great feedback from all over the county, from all of the districts, about how helpful they found this information and how impressed they were with the models that were presented. And one of the things I've heard from the K-12s is when I first brought up this subject, this topic as a program, many of the K-12s came to me and they said, well, we don't think this is our issue, so we don't know why you're bringing this up as a topic. This is a community college issue. But once they heard how important this is to the student success of all of our students, from K-12 up through higher ed, they instantly got it, and they see how this benefits our total student population. And the feedback I got from all of our school boards was this was probably one of the best presentations they'd heard all year. So I want to thank the Pasadena people for coming, for helping to present that information, and great help.
Dr. Miller.
So thank you, President Brown, and also Vice President Waugh. So basically, what we have here is an action item to approve a resolution in support of the College and Career Access Pathways Act, Assembly Bill 288. This is either a first reading or a possible action, up to whatever the board wishes to do tonight. It is item H, as I mentioned, and there you have a copy of what we call our resolution number 531, which has all the requisite whereases and the therefore be it resolved. Also at that tab is a very useful graphical presentation of what this bill does. It is sponsored by Assemblymember Chris Holden, who is a great colleague and friend of this community and certainly of education, both K-12 and community college. So it has that graphic, which provides it, as well as an information sheet that came to us from the Community College League of California, which also provides good information about the purpose of the bill, the background, and the policy solutions. Dr. Corner is here to answer any questions or to make a presentation if needed. But we, staff, would highly recommend that the board approve this action in support of our students.
Yes.
I have a question. So we know currently high school students are taking AP courses. Do we envision this as an alternative to an AP course where they're actually concurrently enrolled, therefore getting progressive information as they're working towards completion in the course, as opposed to an AP course where it's pass or fail on the big day?
So one of the things that this legislation seeks to do is actually establish a sequence of courses. So where it really differentiates itself from something that's more like AP is these are not standalone courses, but have to be in a sequential nature leading towards assisting students in completing a certificate degree or transfer curriculum while they're still in high school. So it wouldn't necessarily replace AP courses, but certainly the comments you had on students not having such a high stakes test, that could play into it, and that would be a good thing for students.
Okay. Any other question? No?
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Trustee Waugh.
Second.
We have a second by Trustee Mann. Advisory vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. And oppose? Any opposition? Trustee Thompson, are you voting yes or no?
I voted yes.
Oh, I didn't hear. That's why I was looking. So motion carries unanimously?
Yes.
All right. So this is a great move for us and for our students.
Thank you, and we'll drop it off at Assemblymember Holden's desk on Monday.
Great.
And also,
Thanks.
for the board's information, and Ryan, I was going to send you an email on this, so I'll just save the email. We will be bringing to the board's attention at the next board meeting support of Assembly Bill 178 in terms of disaggregation relative to our Asian American Pacific Islander population. So look for that in the next packet as well as we look to important legislation that we are going to be supporting. We're going to run that by the legislative subcommittee of the board first, but I just want to give everybody a heads up that that's coming.
Go ahead. Trustee Wong?
Regarding the CCAP, I'd like to encourage everyone to notify.
Talk about the acronym.
The AB 288, so the Career College and Access Pathways, so that we just discussed and we voted on. I just want to encourage all of our trustees to reach out to your K-12s and to encourage them also to support this and let them know that the PACCD did support it. I have Assemblymember Holden's, LAXTA has the Assemblymember Holden's advocacy packet on our website if any of the K-12s are interested.
Thank you. Okay, now we have some informational items.
Yes, I just, if I may, information item I is an update on the 2015 commencement speaker, and in your peachy folders or your red folders or your college folders is a brief report from Dr. Bell. Unfortunately, Dr. Bell is under the weather tonight and could not be with us. But the long and the short of it is that we have a candidate. That candidate is being very, very thoroughly vetted, and we expect to have a recommendation to the board at the March 18th meeting.
You don't care to disclose the name of the candidate?
I certainly may. The individual is Chad Crittenden, and we attached to the document the bios of the 11 candidates that we brought forth. And Mr. Crittenden has accepted our offer, and you'll note that this is a gentleman who survived a very significant illness, a synovial sarcoma. Amputation was necessary, and he has an incredible story about how, through the adaptive action sports activities, he has conquered his infirmaries and has persevered, and he has spoken on the campus before, and the committee thought that he would be an excellent commencement speaker for our students this year.
Great. Okay, Trustee Mann?
Yes, I see he is number 6 on the list. Does that mean the other 5 were contacted and were not available?
Yes, ma'am.
We're sure that they said they weren't available and that no one accidentally invited one of them?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Good.
I was trying not to go back there, but the answer is yes, that's correct.
Okay, Trustee Thompson?
I was going to ask the same question, so.
Good, so the question has been answered.
And you'll have opportunity at the next meeting when we bring it in for an action item, but we're trying to dot every I across. We're even looking for I's and T's to dot and cross to make sure this is done right, so.
Okay, any other
Yeah,
comments?
thank you.
No more comments. Okay, let's move to the next.
Yeah. So the next item is item I, PCC at Rosemead update. To do that, we have the director of our PCC Rosemead operation and our dean of academic affairs who has responsibility for Rosemead. So Ophelia and Raquel, if you want to start. I want to indicate that with appreciation to 3 board members who brought some information and questions to our attention, we have significantly updated the presentation, and I think we are providing the information that the board members have asked for. So I'm going to walk around, make sure everybody's got a copy of the new presentation, and then we'll go from there. So please, Ophelia and Raquel, thank you.
All right, good evening, Dr. Miller, Board of Trustees. I first want to acknowledge and introduce Dr. Raquel Torres Retana, who has joined us from USC, and in her short time here has really taken off in terms of being now the anchor and the face of Rosemead. So we're going to do the presentation. I will be doing the first slide, which is generally just the overview of PCC Rosemead. As you know, we opened Rosemead in October of 2013, and I just wanted to do a real quick overview that we worked in terms of planning course offerings to really focus on the general education courses in terms of those preparing students to transfer or obtain a degree. But I want to acknowledge the work that we did in collaboration with all of our deans and with our student affairs personnel, especially the counselors, in really evaluating and also working with the Office of Institutional Effectiveness to really be strategic in selecting the courses we were going to offer in Rosemead. And Dr. Retana will go over in terms of the significant growth in the short time we've opened Rosemead. Once we opened Rosemead, we realized, based on community interest and folks coming to the PCC Rosemead site, that there was an interest in adding some non-credit ESL courses, and we offer those on Friday and Saturdays. But the primary focus continues to be the general education. And then definitely having full service student support services. So that's my one slide, and I will now let Dr. Retana Torres do the remainder of the presentation.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm really excited and happy to be here and joining you finally. I have, this is my 8th week. Actually, today is my 8th week anniversary, so thank you. I'm going to go ahead and proceed. Just to give you a general overview, I know that the board has visited the Rosemead site, so this is just mostly a recap and an update. So the facility, it is one building. We have 12 smart classrooms, smart meaning that it does allow for multimedia instruction for the faculty members and the instructors to use, as well as students. We do have one computer room that serves as a classroom for our computer science classes, as well as predominantly serves as a lab for our students. We have a study room, which is a very quiet library atmosphere for our students to take advantage of. A faculty workroom, computer stations that also serve as offices for faculty instructors when they have their office hours with students. And we do provide faculty, staff, and student free parking, which is the highlight for our students. And then we do have office space for our counselors who come in on a daily basis. The services and resources for our students are growing, and they continue to really do provide a good. I like to, in speaking with the students and the faculty and the staff, I really feel that Rosemead is providing an intimate educational experience where we really do care and support their academic progress. And that is really felt through all people that are there. And so the services and resources, really, the counseling, it's on site, it's that one-on-one, that drop-in for the students to come in. We have secure tutoring, so the tutoring is also on site. We work with the Learning Center to bring in trained tutors in English, writing, math, and statistics. Again, the free parking. Our admission and records, Mark Narby has been working with us and continues to really be a key personnel, key staff member for the Rosemead site. Computer lab access, I mentioned. Bookstores, we are working with the bookstore, and we do have a vending machine bookstore, but in addition to that, the bookstore does come in and provide delivery, so the students could order their books online, and then the bookstore will deliver it to the Rosemead site, and the students will come and pick it up. As I mentioned, on-site instructors, their office hours are there. The students come in, they're able to meet with the instructors outside of the classroom during the office hours. And then that quiet study room that I mentioned as well, it really does provide a good atmosphere for the students to continue on with their studies. The courses that we offer, these are the basics for this term, and it really is looking at the core general education courses that you would find here at the Pasadena, Colorado campus, but then in addition, as Dr. Arellano mentioned, that we do have a few non-credit ESL courses as well. So those are the courses that we're currently offering at the Rosemead site. Let's take a look at our students, find out a little bit more about what our students look like and what types of programs we're offering. So if you look at the slide here, you're going to see that at the beginning in fall 2013, we offered 60 courses or 60 sections that were offered. Our actual enrollment, this is our duplicated number. So this is actually how many bodies were inside the classroom. And we had the FTS of about 98.11 students. By the end, you'll notice on the slide, by our current term, our spring 2015, this is our projected based on the enrollment that's going on right now. We've doubled the amount of courses that have been offered. We're at 130. Our actual enrollment, again, is at over 3,500 students for this current term, with our expected projected FTS of 455, over 455.
Dr. Torres, if I may
Yes.
interrupt just for a quick second. There's
Sure.
an important element on this. I wanted to draw everybody's attention to spring 2014 with 132 sections offered, generating 3,077 enrollments. And then spring 2015, with 2 less sections offered, were actually generated 3,564 enrollments. So it's a significant improvement as far as efficiency. And I want to congratulate you, Dr. Torres, and the faculty and staff of the center for that accomplishment. And also
that
Dr.
absolutely.
Ariano.
A great point made. And again, we're really hearing from the faculty and the students that they're really enjoying their experience inside the classroom with each other, with the faculty and the students. So yes, absolutely. So you'll see that the growth, it's there. That first term, I don't even want to call it a semester because it wasn't. It was 8 weeks. That 8-week term was. As you can see, it was not even half of what we can actually do. We've been growing, and we're continuing to grow. The next slide is showing our unduplicated. So this will actually give you a better sense of how many students are actually taking advantage of the Rosemead site. So for fall of 2013, we had 618 students. These are individual bodies. Spring, for that next term, the next semester, we rose to over 2,000 with 2,088. By fall, this past fall, we've closed with 2,812. Again, over 2,800 students. For this spring, we have 2,628 students, so 2,628 students. Again, a significant increase. Yes.
And spring is normally lower than fall, so
It is.
that's just a standard way that things that happen in the community colleges.
It's a pattern that we see from each term. And if you look at the fall, again, fall 2013 compared to fall 13. Fall 2013 compared to fall 2014, there's that significant growth. And again, from spring 14 to current spring 15, a nice sizable increase as well. So we're, from the beginning of when we started in fall 2013, we're seeing an increase of over 400%. Which again, we don't expect that to grow because that was from our first term, but nonetheless, we are doing quite well with the students there. Okay. What do our students look like? Who are we currently serving at Rosemead, and what does that student, what are their characteristics? We're right on half point with our male and female students. 50% are female, with 48% being male. Age distribution, as Crystal mentioned yesterday, we have a very young population. Over 50% of our students are under or 19 years old or younger. So that is quite a bit. We're young. It's a fresh class, meaning that this is probably their first or second year here with Pasadena or in college in general. So, and I put the distribution here too as well so that you can see that the next section of years of age is 20 to 24, and that's at 31%. And above the 25-year, it's roughly 13, 14%. So that is a very small population if we're looking at the total population at Rosemead. Ethnicity, predominantly Latino and Asian of our students, which is pretty representative of the San Gabriel Valley, particularly that area, Rosemead, Temple City, so it's very, again, indicative of that area. I thought it was interesting that the third area of ethnicity is our 2 or more races, and I think that's just an indication of what we're going to be seeing more of all over campuses. We're going to see more multiracial students, and that's interesting. Just a little note. Student enrollment by city. We were interested to know where our students were coming from in terms of travel and servicing the local community. Very consistent with Pasadena City College numbers. Our top area is outside the district, which is the city of Los Angeles with 387. We really don't know if that's El Sereno, Los Angeles, or if that's Santa Monica, or the West LA. We don't really know. We just know that that's Los Angeles. But in a close second, less than 100 bodies, is Rosemead. And so again, that's very refreshing to see that we are servicing the community that we are in. And if you look at the rest of the top 10 cities, that's the San Gabriel Valley. These are our neighbors, these are our community members that are choosing to take their courses at the Rosemead site, which again is very, it's good.
So
it's a very
if I may
positive.
interrupt again,
Sure.
Thank you, Dr. Torres. So it's this, I was particularly fascinated by this slide because it does obviously show that the students that we were drawing live in the area of the PCC Rosemead site. Most of these students, if not, well, most of these students came from East LA College or they came from Rio Hondo, to the chagrin of East LA and Rio Hondo.
Yeah.
But also, these are students that we are now finally able to serve in that part of our district. But you'll also see, a nice number from Temple City, Arcadia, Pasadena, the El Monte portion that we support in particular, Rosemead. I mean, we are serving students who live in that area, and this was very gratifying to me. It means that we really were not drawing huge numbers of students from this campus over there. We were providing their educational opportunity there, and they were no longer having to take those 3 or 4 buses that we heard about when we did the educational master plan and we had the community forums, and that was one of the biggest concerns, is that it was just too difficult for them often to get to PCC.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. So we wanted to also see how our students were doing. We knew we were doing a great job in offering courses and students were taking them, but how are they doing? And so we were able to look at some numbers and compare our Rosemead students with our Colorado campus students. And you'll see that our students at Rosemead are doing quite well. In terms of success and retention, they are surpassing the Colorado campus students. And of course, our number is smaller than the Colorado campus, but nonetheless, they are doing well. They're completing their courses, and they are completing them at a satisfactory manner in a C or better. So this is a good indicator that the quality of education and their experience is a positive one.
And a very good indication of the quality of our faculty.
Yes, absolutely.
Who teach these students and the students' ability to persist and continue.
So the next question is, where are we going in terms of a site? We are new. It's only been a year and a half. And so what might the future for Rosemead look like? And so what we want to do is be very purposeful on making some smart decisions on how we move forward. And so we've developed an action plan that will really be our way to, it's an opportunity for us to solicit information and to gather the data so that we can make that informed decision. The first part is the development of an advisory committee. And the advisory committee would be comprised of local educational leaders that are currently serving the local school districts or at the high schools, local community leaders from the Rosemead and the surrounding communities, as well as trustee representation. The purpose and the function of the advisory committee is really to serve as representatives of their respective constituents, review and analyze the data that we receive, and then provide advice and recommendations for the programmatic planning for the Rosemead site in terms of, again, what types of courses are we going to be offering and the programs that might come to fruition at the Rosemead site. How are we going to collect this data? Through community outreach, and in terms of really trying to find out what the needs of the community are. The community survey, we're moving forward on developing that and going out into the community and hearing from folks, and this could include all types. I mean, community is really not just the surrounding community, but it's the certain sub-communities, the students, the individuals interested in the ESL courses, so really trying to get a pulse on what the community needs are through a survey. We're going to go out and we're going to meet with and make presentations to the local boards. This includes the school boards as well as city councils, if they'll listen to us. I'm sure that the Rosemead City Council will be very interested in hearing about what it is that we're doing. We're going to hear from the students. Again, really listen to what the students might need or what what's going to help them, what's going to support them in really furthering their education and making sure that they're progressing academically. And the last piece was city councils. The long term, what my hope and my vision is to come back with all this data, with this rich data, and really take a good analytical view and take the best approach in terms of efficiency, in terms of really meeting the needs of the community, and what's the practicality of doing programs and services through the Rosemead site. So we brought in some suggestions, but we're going to take it back to the analysis of the data will be, of course, with the Pasadena administration, but also the advisory committee and develop. We made some possible recommendations. These are options of what we can possibly look at, or we just heard about pathways. That's something that could possibly be a viable option at the Rosemead site, depending, again, what type of data and what a possible option theme might be, because the pathways do carry the theme. So one idea was a health field or health-related fields and what that might look like at the Rosemead site. And then online hybrid of courses. This, again, will allow us to offer more courses and touch more students through this hybrid online in-person classes. So again, just some ideas of what we might be able to do at the Rosemead site. Finally, our projections. What we envision, what the Rosemead site can look like in terms of looking at the trend and how we are growing. Pasadena City College continues to grow. We see a small growth, and we are assuming, based on the numbers that we've seen, that Rosemead will grow at that same level. So the assumption is that there's going to be a 1.5 growth in the sections annually. And then with that, as the sections grow, well, then of course the enrollment's going to grow. And as the enrollment grows, then our FTS will grow, and we'll be able to reach more students, and then also reach a higher efficiency rate for the site. So these are some numbers that my colleagues at PCC were able to help me collect and really project in terms of what are the possibilities and the potential with the Rosemead site. And these are some amazing numbers. And if we look at 2019 to 2020, that's a great number. I was kind of thrown with that one. I was like, wow, really, we can do that, and we can. We can do that looking at the trends and where we're going.
So I'll just add two quick things, if I may. First of all, I want to also do a shout out to Crystal Colros and her team for all the data that is incorporated in here, and it was done on a relatively short notice, and we appreciate that, Director Colros and team. Secondly, I just wanted to go back to the age distribution just for a second. Sure. And note that a lot of what's happening there, we think, is the outreach to the high schools and making things available to those younger folks. And this is just kind of the beginning of it. But if you look at it right now, PCC Rosemead is 85% of the folks that they're serving are 19 to 24. And that's a large number. Here on the main campus at the moment, it's roughly 70% is under 18 to 24. So just in general, things are skewing younger. But that's part of that is some outreach, and we will work to do more on that. So with that, don't go anywhere, Dr. Torres, Dr. Ariano. I want to thank both of you for the presentation, and now I would imagine.
Do we have any questions? Go ahead, Trustee Wong.
Yeah, I'm sure Trustee Martin is doing a happy dance right now in his head, but I am definitely really happy with this report. I just think kudos to you. You've just done a really outstanding job, and I really like this plan going forward. I think we have really great data, and I'm looking forward to the new data. As you may recall, I mean, two of the things that I had a chance to take a class last semester over at Rosemead. And one of the things that came back was, the community many people said they didn't even know that that center was there or what it was there for. They still thought it was an adult ed center. So I really like your plan of outreach. I think it's just so right on. So I'm really looking forward to your data. The other comment that came back, and it was a language class that I took, is more people would have even taken it. So many of them were already working adults, and they were coming back to school just to take some extra classes for enrichment. But they talked about having access to some of the classes online. So I really like that you have considered that. Just this morning, many of the PCC people and I were at the workforce town hall. And so one of the things that came back was how we need to really build a really close relationship with our business partners, especially as we talk about CTE and then what kinds of degrees and certificates that we're offering that are going to be needed to fulfill a labor workforce. So I hope that's also an opportunity for us to then outreach to business partners in that area for our students.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Trustee.
Can we ask Trustee Wah what grade she got for the course?
Incomplete. I was at the board meeting.
The question for you, your projection for 2019-2020 is for enrollment almost 11,000 students. Do we have the capacity for that at that site?
I'm sorry?
Do we have the capacity for 11,000 students at that site?
It's by the mic.
Yeah, those are duplicated numbers. That's not actual bodies. That's like the per session for a total of the 11,000 enrollment. And then this is also looking at the hybrid models.
Yeah.
How many students do you anticipate there would be then?
Ryan, you want to respond to that, please?
It would really depend on how many classes each of the students are taking. My experience with satellite sites is that oftentimes students do have to commute back and forth between the main campus and the satellite to get all the classes, but if we are effective in putting together a pathways model, you'd probably see pretty significant full-time students there. Right now, I think we're averaging a little less than 3 enrollments per student, so that would be around 3,000 students.
Yeah, 3,000 to 4,000, somewhere in that range year-round. And the facility does have the capacity for that.
What is the capacity of the facility in terms of number of students?
It would really depend. Right now, what we know is that the efficiency of the classes is lower than we see on the main campus, so the projections include a scaling up of the classes, but also an increase in the efficiency of each of those classes that we offer as people get to know where the center is, what it's offering, and we engage in this community outreach. What usually happens is that we have to look at the spread of the scheduling, and the afternoon times tend to be the ones that we fill in last. So we're confident that that capacity can be reached there.
Yeah, so in English, no disrespect, we have 12.
Feel free to translate.
Sorry, we have 12 classrooms in Reuben. Each one of those classrooms houses 35, give or take. So at any given time, there could be 400 or 500 physical bodies if we were up to maximum capacity.
And if you scheduled 7 days a week, all the times, you could get 14 sections around per classroom.
Yeah. So we can handle it. We can handle the amount of FTS that we're indicating that we can generate there, be within code and be within law and all the rest of it that we have to do. Our executive director is giving a thumbs up in the back there, so we'd be good.
Yes, my question, my concern has been from the beginning is that there's no, I see that you have counseling, but just apparently there's no student life activities on the Rosemead campus. And I think when we first brought this up, there was maybe there could be a little van that would go back and forth. There would be some way to have, say, student government go over there, or clubs and so on. So what is happening? Are there any plans to try to involve student life? Are these our main campus students who just take the class there? And that would be one thing, but if they aren't, there is really more to going to college than sitting in a classroom.
I wholeheartedly agree. And so I'm actually working with some of my colleagues here at the Colorado campus to see how we might, we do have some space at the Rosemead site that I would really envision. I would love to see it become much more of a student space. And when the Rosemead site was with the adult school, there was a child development center. And we're not using it as a child development center, and I would envision just what you're speaking of, a student space where they can take advantage of that space where I'm speaking with some of these students, they have 2-3 hour breaks. And so really having them own their own space and bringing in and working with student leaders as they arise and what that might look like. So I support that statement, and I'm glad you brought that up.
So it's in process and planning.
It is in planning, yes.
As is the shuttle operation as we determine its need.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee Salvage.
Yeah, just a couple of questions. Security, how's security down there? Are there any problems with security? I mean, we've got a computer room, any chance they'll disappear overnight? Or?
No, they are locked down. We do have our security presence is with the Pasadena City College Police Department, and so we do have around-the-clock security presence there. We do have 2 cadets there, one of them being the sergeant. So there's always a presence there. They're patrolling the area. They're walking around the property. They're coming inside. They're meeting with the students. It's much more of a community policing model that I've seen, and it's working quite well. We have relatively very small issues. Our lost and found is growing. Students are leaving things, iPhones, computers, books, and they're being found. And so that's probably keeping our public safety the busiest at this point.
And I will add, if I may quickly, Trustee Selvage, that we've recently updated our radio systems so that the communication between the district and the main police station there for the campus, as well as Rosemead, is absolutely top-notch. And we have a close relationship with LA County Sheriffs, which are the contract law enforcement for the city of Rosemead.
Now, two other quick ones. The page that has the courses offered, is there a predominant area of study, not individual course, but is there a predominant area of study that students are coming to Rosemead for?
Right now, we're hearing general education. That's their primary. In the conversations that I'm having with students, many of them are looking to transfer to 4-year universities.
Okay, so these are mainly general ed type students, and
Yeah.
you said the success rate is higher than on campus. Any explanation that we can think of?
This is my personal antidote in really speaking with faculty and students. It's the small class size.
Okay.
There is something to say with getting that intimate relationship in the classroom. Faculty members, instructors love it. They come back to me and they're like, we just love this site. It's great. They're excited to be there. Not that they're not excited to be here, but they're very excited, and they are able to have better communication with their students because of the small class size. But again, this is just
But I want to add, the small class size is on a par with the class size here at the college.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
rooms
well,
are
there
just
you
as
go.
large.
Yeah.
It's the same class sizes in both facilities.
I did the math, and it was what you were projecting for this semester was it was 26 per section students, and if 5-10% are absent every day, every meeting, it's pretty manageable.
Okay, so if we have no other questions, then what we're going to do we have to take action.
No, we don't.
No,
This is
it's
just an information item. This was a report that we promised the board.
160.
164.
Oh, I'm sorry. Take it back. Thank you. I'm sorry, Trustee Brown. Shame on me.
As I
Forgot
was
about that.
saying, so
164B.
164B calls for amend lease agreement with El Monte Union High School District for Pasadena City College Rosemead. So what we will do tonight is vote to amend that lease, because this report is really good. I didn't know that much about this. I had been receiving mixed feelings, but these numbers are terrific. I guess it was last year when we went out by faith. And now, this is wonderful. Can hardly wait to see it happen elsewhere. So, do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Gosh, can I read? Okay, so we have a motion to approve consent item number 164 by Trustee Waugh.
Martin. Martin moved.
Oh,
Trustee
who made the motion?
He made the motion.
Okay,
And I
so
seconded.
Trustee Martin, I should have thought that. And second by Trustee Waugh. Advisory vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, so we approve consent item 164. Thank you.
So, first of all, thank you. It was information item, but obviously that was important, so I apologize for that. Thank you. See, that's you need to keep me in line too, apparently, so that's good.
Okay.
So we then would move on to the next information item, if you're so willing.
Yes, we should.
So we now have a report, information item on workforce education and economic development update. Dean Solomon Davila is here to make that presentation to the board. This is, as I mentioned, an information item, kind of an update as to what's happening, and I believe Dr. Shannon Johnson is joining him as well. And this is under item K in your packets.
Hi, good evening, trustees. I thank you very much for this time to discuss a little bit of some of the directions that we're taking within our workforce preparation initiatives. Today, particular is of interest to all is the concept of how do we know that our students are ready to engage in the life of work, regardless if they transfer or they're here after one class or if they're going through our non-credit programs. The concept of whether or not they're prepared to engage in the workforce has always been prevalent in our classrooms, in our development of programs, in our preparation, our planning, et cetera. A missing key to this is the actual inclusion of workforce preparedness education within our curricula. And that has been an evident gap for myself for the last for the last decade, quite frankly. Because as faculty member, when I was in those ranks, it was always difficult for me to manage the relationships that need to happen with industry, with employers, as well as prepare for my classes and address my students. So, being a faculty member is not necessarily an external position, and it always made it very difficult for myself to sustain just that for my own program where I came from. Much of talk has been provided with the discussion with the new workforce that Trustee Waugh and our counselor Lionel Wiggins is part of how do we engage our employers to partner with us to develop that strong workforce. And so the partnership with employers is a really big key to develop what we call experiential learning, and which encompasses many aspects of work-based education, which includes internships as well as apprenticeships, as well as project-based learning that students may be doing of industry within their classrooms. Something that's relevant, that's real, something that students will engage because they know that that will get them to their career. So that's really the focus that we're bringing here today. And many of you know that we have large initiatives within our campus that deal with the Career Pathway Trust Grants, that PCC is luckily enough to be in 2 of those grants, for which we're working with many industry partners to bring them closer to our programs. So this is a missing key that is a little bit of old and a little bit of new. So I'm going to have Dr. Johnson sort of kick off this presentation of our up-and-coming experiential learning internship program.
And can you just introduce Dr. Johnson in terms of what her role is at the college?
Yes, Dr. Shannon Johnson joined us last fall as one of our faculty members. She's officially our work experience education coordinator at large, helping us coordinate and manage our experiential learning aspects within our institution broadly.
Very good.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and guests. I'm pleased to be able to share information with you on experiential learning. Experiential learning is an educational philosophy and pedagogy that is, at a simple definition, learning by doing. It's a purposely engaging in direct experience and focused reflection that allows the students many opportunities, develop knowledge and skills, clarify values, and contribute to the communities, as well as become work prepared. As an educational endeavor, the activities fall under the educational triangle. So within that triangle, you have the student, you have the college, and you have the employer or the organization. Each of these partners, and it is a partnership, have specific roles and responsibilities. And the interaction of those partners can determine the outcomes. As you can see from the student is the learner, and that is their primary role in an experiential learning activity. The employer organization is a supervisor or mentor, and the college is the facilitator of these activities. Experiential learning, there's many, many activities that fall under experiential learning. This slide is an example of the most active experiential learning activities occurring in higher ed. The ones on the left, internship, apprenticeship, all the way down to service learning, tend to be more of the work-based learning activities. The ones on the right, project-based learning, academic research, tend to be more of the academic-focused experiential learning activities. The wonderful thing about all of them is they incorporate both work and academics. At the top of this slide, you'll see some definitions of experiential learning, and you will see that work and academics are within all of these definitions. So it's the combination of the two. It's not one or the other, it's both. Across learning dimensions, you will see experiential learning activities address many student learning outcomes. And I'm not going to get into detail. You can see what those might be. So for some, the question is, why is experiential learning important? And there's many, many outcomes from experiential learning. We're going to focus on the work preparedness outcomes. The research that I'm going to present was very recent. It came out in January from the Hart Research Associates, and it was conducted on behalf of the Association of American Colleges and Universities, the AACU. And I've just selected some of that data. The first slide is employers were asked what is more important for recent college graduates. Is it the specific job knowledge? Is it a broad knowledge? Or is it both? And what you can see from the slide is the majority said it's both. The academics and the technical knowledge is very important, but they also need the broad knowledge, which we generally refer to as soft skills. The next slide demonstrates a review of employers' perception of students in those soft skill areas and the student perception of themselves in the soft skill areas. The soft skills along the bottom are the sort of top 10 that employers look for. And you can see from the yellow, that's the employer perception of student preparedness along these soft skills, and the red bar is the employer's perception. Or I'm sorry, the student perception. So what you can see is students generally rate themselves twice as prepared in these categories as employers do. So there's clearly a disconnect between the employer perception and the student perception.
That's a problem.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
Is that a problem? Is that a problem based on their experience after they've had students? Or are they?
The employers?
Yes.
Yeah, it's what they were asked is to rate their recent hires who were recent grads. Yeah.
Good question.
So yeah, it's a huge disconnect, and that data it's been a very consistent finding over the last few years.
And when are the students asked this?
When?
Yeah, when do the students get asked? After they graduate, when they get a job, right before they graduate?
When they're still they were current students when they were asked. This research was conducted last year, so they were students currently enrolled in both 2-year and 4-year students were surveyed. And I believe it was 400 employers nationally and 620 or so students nationally were interviewed. But it's a very consistent finding is the disconnect between employers and student perception. The research went on to find, though, that employers value experiential learning as evidence of preparedness. So this graph, they were asked about the experiential learning activities along the bottom. This is employers only. The yellow bar is, are you much more likely to consider an applicant with these experiences, or are you somewhat more likely? And what you can see is all of the experiential learning activities that were asked about have some significance for employers in terms of preparedness, with the most valued the internship experience. So when employers see internships on student resumes or on applicant resumes, it has a significant effect on how they view that applicant. We are lucky enough to have some recent data from PCC students specifically. This was a survey conducted last summer. Is that correct? Last summer of 880 CTE students. So these are PCC students who are considered CTE students only, so it's not a campus-wide. And they were asked various questions about why they're here, what services they utilize, what services they would like. The graph on the left, they were asked to rank the overall reasons that they were attending PCC. And they were asked from 1 to 5, so the top is the highest ranking versus the one with the highest score. So students indicated that gaining skills for future employment was the #1 reason that they were attending classes at PCC. The graph on the right, they were asked to rank the services that will help them reach their educational and career goals, and they indicated job preparation as the #1 service that would help them. So what's interesting is they are very aware that career is important. They're very aware job prep is important, but what was interesting is all the way down at the bottom on that right graph, they indicated internships is not very important in helping them reach their educational goals, when in reality, from the research we just saw, internships can have a significant effect on their skill development and their job prep. So again, we're seeing a disconnect between students understanding what helps them get work ready. However, what we found is the idea of experiential learning at PCC is not a new concept. It's been here before. In 1970 through 73, there were work-study programs under a cooperative education program. From 73 to 84, there was a cooperative education department. And that came about from a Senate bill that released funding to 6 community colleges to create cooperative education departments. Of those 6, 2 still currently have some type of that program going. We are not one of them. And on the right are samples of the courses that were offered during the cooperative education program. If we're looking at internship supply and demand, national numbers, internship participation among students is at an all-time high from when they started tracking numbers. Over 60% of college students will participate in an internship before they leave a campus. 90% of campuses offer internship assistance. The issue is the type and level vary across campuses, from all the way to simply posting internships to actually requiring internships of all graduates. So while most campuses have some type of assistance, it varies widely. And the most common majors for internships are business, engineering, film, television, and healthcare. And do you want to talk about that?
I wanted to address a little bit of what currently exists here at PCC, and that's a little bit more on the left-hand side. There is Title V regulation organizing occupational and work-based learning type of constructs, for which are used loosely currently within CNI and within our constructs of developing internship courses that are discipline-specific. We don't have a guidelines that is policy by the board currently that regulates work-based learning here in our campus. Currently, we only enroll roughly about 250 students that are considered general work experience internships. I'm excluding the clinicals from health sciences primarily, and that generates roughly about $100,000 of it from that FTES that is currently. In my projections, the college of our size, we should be actually doing 4 times as much as what you're seeing currently in general education, general occupational education. So here are some example courses. The lists that you see on the right are sample internship courses that we have dispersed through our campus. These courses were done, actually there's no real regulation over them. They're all unique. They all use various hours. They may not comply within Title V regulations based on the number of hours and units, whether they're paid or unpaid. You can see some of the course descriptions that you see there in our catalog. Again, very general, very vague, and some of which are uniquely distributed within the schools and the disciplines and organized with the employers with specific faculty, excuse me. So the idea here is to begin organizing our campus to really engage industry with one message. Right, as opposed to diverse messages, diverse programs, diverse needs. And it's essentially an engagement that will benefit all. So last year, I believe Trustee Wah and Trustee Brown were at our very first BUILT, our business industry leadership team, where we began that push with a local industry here to educate our local business partners to see what is work ready and to let them know that PCC is ready to step up to that challenge. That went very well, and throughout this past year, I've been following up with many industries to continue funneling through to our programs. Now that there's someone to help us in that regard, there's been a lot of coaching of the employers of what it takes for them to be a partner in achieving student outcomes. We've also engaged, as I mentioned before, many of our career pathways, developing partnerships. As you passed today, the dual enrollment, AB 288 provision, well, that includes work-based learning with our high schools to help them also engage our partners, industry partners. The two CPT grants that you see there, one of the three legs of the stool is work-based learning and making that happen along with dual enrollment. So industry engagement is just full throttle here at PCC.
And our final slide, although it's the one that probably has the most detail hidden within it, is the considerations for a college internship program that would be seen as comprehensive. There are legal standards, there are federal labor laws that dictate certain employment rules for internships. And as federal labor law, those have to be adhered to. There's education code within the community colleges, there is Title V, and there is an entire section in Title V about occupational work experience and the parameters that the program should be set up under. There's also industry engagement. How do we get industry engaged in our internship program? Faculty education, how do we make faculty aware of internship standards and encourage students to participate in those activities? And there's also student engagement. As you could see from some of the research, students are a little uninformed, misinformed about these activities and what they could mean for them. And it's a matter of informing them of what these mean for them and how we can help facilitate that process for them.
So as we wrap up the formal presentation, I would like to add that this is a significant effort among our CTE faculty, our allied health faculty, our business faculty, our performing and communication arts faculty, the significant number of our 370 full-time faculty, and gosh knows how many of our adjuncts. As Dr. Johnson, Dean Davila, Dr. Jarrell, and others work to basically implement this plan that you see in front of you and prepare us for the output of the task force on workforce education and job growth. And I got to get that title right, Trustee Wah, but that's the task force here. And just as we tried to do with the Student Success Task Force, we want to be positioned very clearly so that when that task force comes forward and comes up with its recommendations and there's funding attached to that, we'll be ready. I glanced over and I saw Dr. Douglas because I forgot to mention the numerous programs that are in the sciences and also the mathematics area that relate to this. Dean Davila's position as Dean of Workforce Education and Economic Development is designed, if you will, as a horizontal dean that crosses over all of our schools and all of our grants, of which we have many. The two that they quickly reference, the LA High Tech and then the Long Beach one on the manufacturing, that represents some $10 million, give or take, of funding and support of our students in our area. Dr. Douglas and his HSI Title V STEM grant also relates to these things. So this is all about positioning ourselves and positioning ourselves well to be ready for the outcome of task force, but more importantly, to work with our faculty to move them along, work with our local industry to get them involved. Dr. Johnson, as you can tell, is an incredible addition to our staff, and we are very grateful that she's here to help us with this.
Any questions?
Sorry, I just can't help myself. This is just a wonderful report. And so, as many of you know, workforce and experiential learning have long been a passion for me. It's something I see as just being critical for our students. I just want to thank you for this report. I think it really articulates well what we need to do to move forward. And I think as we move forward on the workforce development task force, the strong workforce task force, in formulating recommendations, I do see that we have the potential to really position not only PCC, but all of our partners in the region to really contribute to student success. And one of the things I think that we as trustees can do, and I hope that we all engage in, I know that, I guess because of the accreditation and the board meeting today, we weren't all able to attend the workforce town hall, but I hope that we all see it as an opportunity for us to also pull our own communities in as business partners to contribute to helping our students get this experiential learning. So I think it's really great. And then I guess I'm just going to repeat something really quickly that I said at the task force today. You know, one of the things that we talk about for education, when Solomon talked about a three-legged stool, 3 legs, we talk about a three-legged stool of what it's going to take to move this forward. And we all define the legs a little differently, but I think it's, definitely the business partners, but it's education, because education is the one that has to then prepare and design the programs. But it's also the policymakers, the legislation. So some things we can come up with a plan, but sometimes you just have to have a policy that helps clear this path so that we can move forward. And one of the things we talk about is the agility that education is going to face, because truly business is our work partner. They are actually our customers. That's who we're delivering the product to. And so education has to move quickly. I had a chance to attend a business industry meeting yesterday with Dean Jarrell, and we heard back from a lot of the business partners, and they talk about the agility that's needed. So I want to thank you guys for all your work.
Okay, so we go to accreditation update.
I'm sorry. It looks, okay. So we're going to move.
I am not able to, Brown Act violation, I cannot do it. That's what I was told.
That I'm not able to participate?
Right.
If you save it for when you're up at bat, that would be the way to do that, if you wouldn't mind.
I will do so.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Did you have something else? Okay, so let's go to accreditation.
Okay, so we have a very, very brief accreditation update. So I'm going to ask Dr. Scott, our accreditation liaison officer, and Stephanie Fleming, who is our self-evaluation coordinator, to provide a brief update as to what's happening.
Good evening, board. Stephanie and I will be giving a very short presentation, as Dr. Miller said. First of all, while we won't know the results until July, I have to say that I feel very positive about the visit. I personally was, as a new accreditation liaison officer, was very pleased with the hard work on so many individuals' parts, individuals and groups across campus. There was incredible preparation by people on their own and in groups in the event that they were interviewed. Just a huge amount, people putting notebooks together, just doing an incredible amount of work. There was willingness for people to change their schedules at the last minute to accommodate team members' requests. Even last minute requests, people were running to interviews, within 5 or 10 minutes. And also people were pulling documents together, evidence that the team requested in a very, very fast fashion. It was just a significant effort from so many people across campus. And also the people who worked on the logistical end, I have to say, they were just wonderful as well. From the police officers who were helping with parking for the team members, to all the people that ensured that they were well fed in their time that they were here, shuttles. Cindy, Dr. Miller's assistant, came in when she was very ill and made sure that everybody was taken care of. And it was just gratifying for me to see so much work and so much effort across the campus and so much care to show the team that we are a fabulous campus, and they wanted the team members to see that.
Did you have one?
Good evening. And Dr. Scott has thanked all of the people on our campus that have worked so hard, but we would be remiss if we didn't thank Dr. Scott as well. She has really stepped into this role and done an amazing job, and I personally can't thank her enough for all of the hard work that she's done to make this visit and our accreditation cycle successful.
Thank you.
Very nice.
So I guess I'll end this.
Oh, we have more.
You more? Okay.
We have so much more, Bob.
I guess you won't.
It's short, but not that short. We just wanted to give the board an idea of some of the different types of meetings that have been happening across campus. And so the accreditors have had opportunities to go and view many of our committee meetings, including a meeting with members of the Academic Senate, the Classified Senate. They had an opportunity to talk with many of our students and the leadership from Associated Students. They went and visited our BRAC meeting, as well as curriculum and instruction. They visited with multiple members of the Institutional Effectiveness Committee, including the leadership of that committee. They met with several faculty members who are program review authors, and so they had a lot of access to us. They also visited student affairs. They visited the dean's meeting, and then again, they were also here tonight. In addition to all those committee meetings, they also met with members of distance education, with IT, with library, with facilities, and they met with classified faculty, students, and managers who were relevant to the writing of all of the different standards. I have to personally say how appreciative I am of how many people contributed to the work of not just the writing, the self-evaluation, but of making this visitation successful. It's really difficult sometimes in the midst of writing an accreditation, document for all of us to constantly remember all of those great things that we always do. And it was really nice to be reminded of all of those things in the public forums and in the feedback that the site members were giving to us when they walked out of all of those different meetings.
We also had 2 public forums and a meet and greet, and we would like to thank the people who attended those, including members of our board. I know that the team was very happy to see you there. We also just wanted to comment on the team. We felt that the team was very thorough. They were fair. They were collaborative amongst each other. They were very respectful to us. We felt that the team chair was experienced and very knowledgeable about the standards, and she kept reinforcing to us that adherence to the standards is intended to help us improve, and that was their focus. They commented on our very positive energy, and at the forum this evening, the chair commented on the wonderful things that are going on this campus. And it was interesting walking around with them because we could see how they look at our campus through fresh eyes. And there were so many times when they were just admiring the things that we do here, and were so, they were really impressed with so many of the things that we have, and including things like the Fab Lab, Pathways, Center for the Arts. They were just really impressed. And, and going to the Tutoring Center, the Learning Assistance Center, A&R, just everywhere they went, they were impressed. And it was also important, though, for us to recognize that through their eyes, we could also see areas where we need to improve. And that's part of the purpose of accreditation. And finally, just in closing, I would like to thank Matt Jordan and Stephanie Fleming, who put in a tremendous effort over a long period of time, and should be commended and thanked for their contributions. Tomorrow we have the exit report at 11:30 in the forum, and we encourage people to attend. They'll be giving us their overall impressions, but again, we won't know the final results until July.
Thank you.
Okay, so I can add this to my superintendent's
Yes,
report if
you
you'd like.
may. Do you have anything to say?
Two quick things. I wanted to speak my little 2 cents about the accreditation visit. It's ditto to everything that Stephanie and Kathy said, I wanted to let you know that Stephanie has been warmly thanked and applauded several times this week for her efforts. But I also wanted to remember the efforts of the 70 to 90 writing committee members who also worked incredibly hard on this process, as well as certainly Matt Jordan, and I appreciate Kathy mentioning that. I have been party to at least 6 different meetings. I've been asked. I had six different interviews of me for one reason or another. I was also incredibly proud of the staff because even though we had a very large report and even though there's a lot of evidence, as they went and had their various meetings, they asked for more evidence. And everybody stopped everything they could to generate that additional evidence as supervised, if you will, by both Kathy and Stephanie. So it was really a great, great experience. The reality is that we are going to be reaffirmed on the basis of the 4 main accreditation standards and how well we did vis-a-vis the recommendations that we said that we would do at the midterm and the like. And they're going to go back and look at the last visit and they see, did we do what we said we were going to do? And that's what they were looking at. And as impressed as they were, we do have some significant challenges in the area of governance and some significant challenges in the area of planning. And I suspect that we will be hearing about that in the final report. So it was a great 2 days. They're done. The last meeting they attended was here tonight. They went back to their team room at the Hilton, which is where they are. They started their deliberations at 8:30 this evening, and they will essentially develop what it is that they're going to be recommending. They will have a meeting with me at either 10:30 or 11 tomorrow morning, give me a preview of what they're going to say. And then the exit interview is 11:30 a.m. between 11:30 and 12. They don't take public comment. They just speak to us. They will share any commendations they care to share, if any, and they will give us a general idea of the recommendations, and then they will go off and they will write their report. It's also important to say that it's the ACCJC, it's the commissioners who have the final say on exactly what will be our fate, if you will, in relation to this process. Whatever it is, this college is well prepared to achieve whatever goals are needed to do whatever it is that we need to do. We start work immediately on the 49 actionable improvement plans. The work doesn't start or it doesn't stop, it just begins. So it's been great in a lot of ways, and it turned out better than I ever thought it would, and I just give thanks to 370 faculty and 60-plus managers and the board and everybody else for your participation. That was 1. 2 is very short, and I'm done. Jaime Escalante exhibit opens tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the Circadian. It's marvelous. I've snuck in there to see the exhibit. There was a wonderful write-up on it in the Star News today. We invite everybody to attend the reception. There's a donation of $25, I believe, to attend. As a way to support some scholarships. That exhibit will be housed there for about a month, as I recall.
Until April 5th.
I want to give great thanks to many people, Dr. Christopher Jimenez West and so many others. We've got some great events coming up in celebration of Jaime Escalante. And this, too, was something that people said we couldn't get done, and we got it done, thanks to Dr. Levo and others.
And if I just could note, tomorrow, both Telemundo and Univision will be here to interview Mr. Jaime Escalante prior to the exhibit launch. And so we're very pleased that we're going to get some media coverage out of this.
And the Circadian was transformed by Ruben Smith and his staff, and we had a outside curator do the whole thing. So I'm done, but it's exciting, and if you can be there tomorrow, please do.
Absolutely. Very good.
It's 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in the Circadian.
Okay, so at this time we'll turn to announcements by shared governance. Let's start with President Cairo.
Thank you.
President Cairo, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to turn you off, but I was told we cannot allow you to deliberate with the board.
Okay, thank you for that. Well, not really, but I understand what you're saying. I figure we're going to be receiving our own Brown Act training. Yes. We'll be informed of that.
Thank you.
Very
okay, thank you. So in regards to this presentation, at first when I saw how the students, they felt that they were prepared, but the business owners, they didn't. Well, I thought, well, our students think highly of themselves, so I thought that was a good thing. However, when we were on page 13, the question is, why is it that the students think that they're prepared, and when reality is that they're not? And then apparently, the answer is because the faculty have not informed them of the significance of this experiential learning. And for that reason, that's why we have this issue of, or the statement of faculty education, the need to educate the faculty about the significance of that. So the question I was going to ask Dean Davila and Dr. Johnson is, how is this training going to occur, and why has the academic senate not been informed that faculty need to be trained? I mean, this is part of our purview. So I think it's important that we at least be given the courtesy or be informed that faculty are going to be trained regarding this. I'm not saying they don't have to. I'm just saying that it would be nice for us to be informed of this issue. So that was my comment on that. So maybe sometime during the week we can talk about that.
Yeah, and I think I will just interject very quickly that the professional learning, professional development is part of the plan, and it will certainly be shared once that's developed. Is that correct, Dean Davila?
Yes, actually, we have several HIP seminars happening right now. We did our first one 2 weeks. The next one's tomorrow.
So certainly in respect of what President Cairo was saying, we should go to the Academic Senate and request time on the agenda to do a presentation, and we will do that, President Cairo.
Right. It'd just be nice to be informed of these things instead of learning it from a report. Thank you. So now the next thing, let me preface by saying, don't shoot the messenger. Okay. So this is information that I was asked to ask the academic senate a couple of questions, and so I'll give you the questions and the response by the academic senate as to whether or not the academic senate be willing to introduce the topic of Armenian history into the classes. Very diplomatically, the answer was no by the academic senate. A while back, I was asked to ask the academic senate whether or not we preferred the term shared governance or participatory governance. It was unanimous that we preferred shared governance. And then a while back, we was also asked that there was a program here in which during the question and answer session, the students were asked, to whom do you owe your success to? And I was asked by what trustee to, she noted that nobody owed their success or or stated that their success was due to the faculty. So that question was put to the academic senate as to how they felt that response was. And again, don't shoot the messenger. One was apparently the board is unaware of the role the faculty played in putting on the program, and another response was, well, while the students may not have mentioned the faculty, they didn't mention the board either for their success. Finally, in regards to what happened this week, as you are aware, the screening committee finalized the process of selecting names and forward them to the Board of Trustees. Personally, with Julie Kiotis and myself, we participated, and we were extremely pleased with the representatives, the individuals that you selected. I don't know who had a representative, a woman by the name of Susie. Anybody? I think that was her name. Black hair?
Stella?
Maybe Stella?
Okay,
That's
I know who it is. But
okay.
Go ahead.
Extremely well prepared. We were, I mean, pick a candidate, pulled out the sheets, and there's all that information. So we were extremely pleased with every single individual that you selected. But if there was one problem that we all felt, including your choices, was that we felt that there was a tremendous need to interview the candidates. So maybe down the road that procedure can be changed. But as far as the committee was concerned, we're forwarding you 6 candidates that we believe are very well qualified to be. One of them could be our next president. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We did something right, huh?
Maybe. We'll see.
Okay, Dr. Douglas.
Don't say that yet.
A little early.
Not over
Dr.
yet.
Douglas?
Yeah. Thank you, President Brown. I just want to echo that we really appreciate the leadership of Professor Fleming, Dr. Scott, and Dr. Corner in preparing the management team for the site visit. They did a fabulous job. Many managers had expressed that they have felt more, many of the village elders have expressed that they felt more prepared for this particular site visit than any other. So we
Are you talking about yourself?
And even though faculty and students will be away next week, your managers will be here trying to get caught up and have things settle down a little bit. So it's been a good week.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to Classified Senate.
Yes, and the staff will also be here too, Dr. Dame. So good evening, trustees. On behalf of the Classified Senate, we wanted to update you, let you know that we begin our first series of the town hall meetings. I know that I've been giving you updates periodically on those. And we're scheduled to have our first town hall meeting to take place on Thursday, March 26th in C323 from noon to 1 p.m. So this is going to be our first one. We're hoping that we'll be able to address and have an open dialogue with classified staff and hoping that we'll be able to enhance collegiality amongst our staff. The Classified Senate has also begun the scholarship application process. We're very excited because this year we switched over from a paper system to Academic Works that has been provided through the foundation office. So we've been very closely with them, and we're very excited to see how this process works. We're awarding a student scholarship, and then we're also going to be awarding a scholarship for a classified staff member. We are also currently about to have open elections, so we're going to have an open call for senators to be serving on the next upcoming 2015-2016 term. Those nominations will begin on March 9th. And then lastly, we're also finalizing our process for the Classified Day event that we have. We're very excited about this. We've been discussing venues, what our budget is looking like. So we're finalizing the details of this process. So that's going to be upcoming in May.
Thank you. Okay, Associated Students.
Hello, good evening. So I first want to start off by saying, giving a nice personal thank you as a student to Steph Fleming, Kathy, and Dean Jordan for putting together a wonderful self-evaluation and for really coordinating the accreditation site visit team. They were wonderful. And as a student who meets a lot of people in positions of power, seeing other people, come on campus from other campuses and meeting people, other administrators was a really, really great opportunity for me. And it didn't hit me at how important this was until, after the writing's done and the self-evaluation's done and they're actually here doing it. And it's like, oh, whoa, like this is for real. So I just want to say thank you to all, to everybody that helped contribute to that. So yeah, thank you. Second thing, the Associated Students just approved the 72-hour film festival scholarship. If you don't know what that is, basically students are given 72 hours to create a film, and then they are judged and screened. It is proven to be one of the most successful scholarships that we have. First place gets $1,000, second place gets $750, third place gets $500, and then best actor actress get $250. So it's a really unique way to offer students a good creative way to do that. And I invite you guys to, when the films are all done, we have a film screening to see what good work our students are doing in regards to making films. Last but not least, I just realized I see that we have a joint meeting on April 1st. I hope that's not a joke. But if it is, it's very funny. But I look forward to talking to you, President Brown, to discuss the agenda. And I would formally like to invite you out to dinner so we can discuss that. So
I would love to.
yeah. But I look forward to that night.
But remember, he's a starving student, so someone's going to have to.
He's inviting you, but you're paying, apparently.
That's right.
We'll work it out.
Nah, I got you. It's fine. I got
Work
you.
it out. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're good. So I look forward to developing that agenda and looking forward to that day. And that's it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go to our student over here. Go ahead.
Reports, but I'm going to talk for a few seconds. first of all, echoing what Professor Cairo said, I participated in the screening committee. I thought it was very well done, and I think more to the effect of the interviews, I think if we considered something maybe as simple as a phone conversation, where the committee could have a chance to pose their questions to whoever's running it, and then the phone call could be made to answer questions. The problem becomes you go through 800 pages of words, and you just can't differentiate between I have this degree and I've been this president. There's no way to equate differences. But other than that, yeah, it was really productive. We had long conversations, deliberations, and narrowed it down to 6. The second thing was I recommended to our Associated Student Executive Board and was passed a censure, and I won't get into it because it's not the point of the censure on a faculty member. The point is that something happened as it pertains to the relations between students and faculty, and there has been a developing climate between everyone over the past, well, I would say over the past couple of years, and it's in my experience, has gotten worse, and we're basically just making a statement that it's time to stop, and it's time for all of us to talk about it and go back to the way we were. Myself, Jordan, Professor Cairo have already talked, and we're already making strides to get this relationship back on track. So I just want to let you know that.
Great. Trustee, no report?
Yeah, yesterday I had the opportunity and really the pleasure and privilege of going up to Washington Elementary School, which is a STEM school, science, technology, engineering, and math, and reading to their first grade class. And it was really neat because they were featuring Dr. Seuss and his various books and all that sort of stuff. And so the kids are sitting on the floor there, and I'm sitting in this little chair. And I read The Cat in the Hat. And I'll go through all that and periodically show them pictures and ask questions. I get to the end of it, and a little girl raised her hand. She said, "You didn't show us all the pictures." So I said, okay, we'll go back and correct that. And then I said, I'm really glad that you're here, and it's because reading is really important to learn now and get going on that. And another little girl raised her hand, and she said, "I can read."
There you go.
But it was really a neat thing, and they wanted that some of the people at the school, not the children, but the others, the faculty, wanted to know who at PCC they could talk with or work with about setting up some sort of relationship. And so who might that be? Any idea?
I think if you start with me, I can take care of it.
All right, good. But no, it was very impressive, and I just think it's wonderful to have our local first graders go through something like that and be so sharp and able to handle everything. So I was just really honored to be there and be a part of it.
Great, thank you.
I'm reading to them tomorrow. I thought they invited me to scare the children, but
well, they may have.
Trustee Martin, any report?
I have no report, but I do have a comment on life. And it seems to be the big topic is the difference in perception between students and employers. And I think if I were to just take a sampling of me and what I thought of myself as a student and a sampling of me maybe 5-10 years forward from that as an employer, I bet my evaluation of myself would be very much the same as how it came out. Statistically here, irrespective of anything with the faculty or anything with anything else, I think this is just a reflection of life as it is. So I think it's interesting. I think we should do something about it. But people, I don't think you got to take it all too seriously, because I think it just has something to do with age and experience. So,
Trustee Mann?
Yeah, I have a couple of comments. I'd like to thank President Cairo for reporting back to us about the faculty. He sent us answer to the questions, and no one's going to shoot the messenger. I think it's important that we understand these perceptions. Although I really don't understand how a student could have been influenced by a board member, I still am concerned that they that they feel like they were influenced by the faculty. The other thing I would like to say is I have been very impressed with all the preparation that has gone on the campus, and the people have been named for the accreditation and the enormous amount of work and time and effort that has gone into this. And I've attended both of the forums and heard some very positive comments and some very negative comments, and I think that's good. It shows it's an open campus, that people aren't afraid to speak up. Certainly, you can't imagine what else people could say if anyone was afraid to speak up, because we heard some very, hard-hitting comments. I am not quite as optimistic as other people about what I think the outcome is going to be, but I think whatever it is, we're going to have to decide how to address these issues and, move on.
Thank you. Trustee Watt?
Yes, the last week I attended the joint CEO trustees meeting of the league, and just a couple things on the legislative. They also posted the advocacy package for dual enrollment and are encouraging all community colleges to support. So thank you, my fellow trustees. Also, on the stability funding, there was a vote not to support that at this time, as they felt, and I think even legislators are feeling there's really no appetite for that right now because of it's kind of in conflict with what they're moving forward with on the growth formula. Also, there was a vote on the Prop 13 reform. It also came to me as a LACSTA president. The K-12s and most of our members were not really interested in moving forward. It's just to put a bill on the out to see whether or not we can initiate Prop 13 reform, and that's closing the loopholes on some corporations. So they're moving forward. The league is moving forward on their permanent, their search for a permanent CEO, and that's ACCT is doing that. And then under LACSTA, I just wanted to report that, excuse me, on March 13th, we are having the Adult Ed 3 workshop. So we're bringing Dr. Deborah Jones down from the Chancellor's Office, who will be reporting on the funding for adult ed, and then the report that came to the Chancellor's Office, their assessment of where we are on the performance milestones. And 2 consortiums will be reporting. That will be Rio Hondo as well as Citrus. So we'll have a chance to hear how those 2 consortiums are doing and what issues they've encountered. So I encourage everyone to attend who is interested in the adult ed issue. It will be on March 13th at 9 o'clock at Rio Hondo. And then Dr. Mann also asked LACSTA to post the flyer on the Foster Youth Summit. So that's on March 23rd to the 24th. So those who are interested in that, and all of these flyers will be on the LACSTA website too.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Wah. And I would like to first of all thank each of you for your hard work. I know this has been very stressful trying to prepare for accreditation. A lot of work, a lot of stress. Dr. Miller, thank you. No, you've worked very hard. See you sweating, like they say, sweating bullets. Every time I see me, oh. So some people left, some people stayed. I remember getting ready for accreditation at LA County Hospital, and you wouldn't see this here, but these were days where you wake up. If the accreditation team is coming in the morning, you don't know what happens at midnight. Stuff been thrown in closets, some kind of stuff. We didn't have anything to put in closets here, but we had to face, at least I don't think you did, but we had to face what the accreditors had for us, the reports that they had already reviewed. They came to supposedly confirm what they read. And it's been stressful. We've been through some stressful times. But the good news is that it's done. We've reached 2 milestones. We had our long, drawn-out, what would you call it, negotiation. That's done. Now we have accreditation. That's done. Now the pain should be pretty much going now. What I would like to see us is to start a new day. I would like to even start with myself, maybe trying to see if we could do something to heal bring healing, the healing process. Try to restore some of that communication that probably got, So, and it's like a bad marriage. I've never been through one, but I know bad marriages end up either in divorce or reconciliation. Well, we all have to work. We all get a check, one way or another. It's much better to work in unison and be able to laugh or talk. You don't have to be all hopped up and there he comes or there she comes. Let's bygones be bygones. Let's start. Let's see how we could start a new conversation. I'm willing to put out there in our retreat, we talked about having, I think it was this coffee with trustees? Oh, I'm going to have a coffee with Senate Cairo. I'm going to have coffee with whomever. Let's just try demanding. I'm worried about what our report is going to be. But most importantly, I'm worried about where we go from here. So we're going to be selecting a new president, maybe this one or another, we don't know. But let's start. This is a beautiful place. Everyone talks about PCC. So yeah, we've been in the paper, we've been everywhere, but it's not the end. We can start. We can start. We're adults and we can start. So I would like to say to you that for the few months that I'm going to be a president, I am all ears. I'm willing to talk. I like to talk. So, and I will try to get the board and whomever so we could start. Let's start getting and put all the nonsense in the back of us. So that's what I would like to say. Okay.
Aren't you the president until the end of the year?
Well, there are a few months. Someone may decide they're going to stone me. I don't know. But now let's try to do that. Okay, so we're going to move on to, what else do we have?
Adjournment.
No.
No,
future
we
meeting
cannot adjourn, not just yet. So,
2 days till spring break, come on.
so, what was that?
It's 2 days until spring break, I'm trying to hurry up.
We're going to
I'm
be here
sorry.
at spring break.
Hey, it's early, you guys.
That's right.
So we're going to go to proposed future board business meetings. We have Wednesday, March 18th, and we have April 1st. Oh, the joint meeting with the Associated Students. We go out to dinner. We will do that.
We are.
And then we will have our Thursday, April 16th, our joint meeting with PUSD. That should be very good.
I have a question about the joint meeting with PUSD. I see it's on Thursday, so that's their time, not our time. I hope that this meeting is well-planned, that nobody gets locked in till 11 o'clock at night somewhere. And
It's going to be here on campus.
Is it going to be here?
Yeah, if I may, very quickly, I've been talking to Superintendent McDonald about this, and at
Let's
the moment,
lock them in.
no, at the moment, we are proposing, and I believe they'll have the meeting here in our President's Conference Room, which, since it's been recently reconfigured, it will seat the both boards comfortably around the President's Conference Room table, and we'll have some space for folks to be in the audience. At the moment, we're talking about the possibility of a major item agenda. I need to talk to President Brown about that, but that's kind of where we are right now.
Okay, and the other thing I would like to request in developing the agenda, that it not be just staff reports. We can listen to our own staff, so I think we need to have an opportunity to have a dialogue and discussion with the other board members, or there's no point in us listening to staff.
And that's why we're talking about keeping it to two very specific topics that would give the board ample opportunity, ample opportunity to communicate.
Okay, so I'm very excited with what's going on with PUSD and PCC, and I do believe we will have a very good conversation. We may have even another Rosemead for all we know. So I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to that meeting. Go ahead. Trustee Thompson?
Okay. I worry about having it in the President's Conference Room because this is a public meeting. And I think we ought to have it a place where people from the public can come and not be squeezed in someplace.
Well, we'll work on that. I think
Okay.
that's a good point.
The other thing too is I would say that if you've not met Brian McDonald, I think you're going to be very impressed by him. He's really quite an amazing individual. He's doing off to a very good beginning. He's got 5 children of his own in the public schools here in Pasadena. And so he has every personal reason to do the very best job possible. And he's, I think, off and running and doing to a great start. So
You're absolutely right, Trustee. I thought you had a question. Okay, so as we move on, so do we have any future agenda items? No? Yes?
So I guess in the spirit of doing this outreach with PUSD, I would also like the board to consider doing outreach to some of our other districts too, which we used to do in the past.
Absolutely. Put that on the agenda. Okay, so, and as we move forward for better days, this meeting is adjourned.